Well, hello again. Yes or no answers to questions of great import. Now, one might think that this question, which is, should I get a cat, may not be one of the world's most pressing and demanding questions and problems, but believe me, there are plenty of people who think it is probably the number one question. So let's address it. We have to do this in the context of numbers. There are in Britain about 10 million cats, about the same number as dogs. So they are an ever present phenomenon, an ever present component of the population. A lot of people have cats. Others are perhaps considering getting one. And so that really elevates this question to one of, dare I say it, national importance. So let's get on with the examination of the question. First of all, let's start with the yes people. Well, I guess first and foremost, in many people's eyes, is they really are beautiful creatures. They perhaps remind us of their feline counterparts in the wild. They move with great grace. You almost never see a picture of a cat where he or she looks ugly or awkward or not really in kind of total command of the situation. So that's pretty impressive. Number two, they are entertaining. They like to, what we call play. They may not think of it as playing. They may think of it as some kind of primitive hunting routine or something. But nonetheless, they're fun to watch. The classic chasing the ball of yarn kind of thing. And if you have a second cat, they'll play with each other, chase each other around the house. Of course, one will quickly emerge, let's say in the first 20 seconds, as top cat, and will dominate the other, but not completely, because as we all know, cats don't like to be dominated too much. So watching them play and have some fun is really one of the real benefits of having a cat. Next, they are well known for having a calming effect. They are stress reducing machines. They're often prescribed for people who are having a tough time, people in old people's homes who are lonely, who are perhaps feeling a bit down, a bit depressed, and so forth. There's something about a cat purring, sitting on your lap, that can really bring things to a kind of an acceptable, even bearable level for people who are in distress. What a wonderful thing that is. I think that this skill on the part of cats is being recognized more and more, and they're actually being brought into care homes, for instance, for the delectation and comfort and so forth of older people who are having a tough time. Next, they catch mice, at least according to the Tom and Jerry cartoons, although Tom never seems to catch Jerry, but they do indeed catch mice. I myself have had cats that have caught mice. They, of course, often will present you with some of the remains of the mouse at a time in a place that you don't really appreciate. But once you have a cat in the house, the mice will clear off. They will pass the word, cat in house, we don't want any part of this place. They do the similar thing with insects of various kinds, with spiders. Now, spiders aren't necessarily a bad thing, but some people, like my wife, hate spiders, are absolutely put off by spiders, don't want any part of spiders. Doesn't want to kill them, but doesn't want them around anyway. So a cat will take care of that problem for you quite nicely, if he feels like it. we should always add that proviso. They are their own person. Next, there's something kind of amusing, even kind of darkly reassuring about the independence of a cat. The cat will look at you sometimes with what seems to be even contempt as he ignores your entreaties of one sort or another. But there's something kind of endearing about that. He's not a fawning toady. He's not like certain politicians I could name that have people around who are willing to agree with anything he says. Cats aren't like that. So that may be not what you're looking for in a pet, but for many people it is. It's an endearing quality. One of the strongest arguments for having a cat is that they are really no trouble. They will pretty much look after themselves as long as there's a occasional bowl of food and God help you in the right place at the right time, and a cat flap, a means of getting in and out of the house. That's really all you need to do. Well, once in a while a trip to the vet, but they don't need walking, they don't need fussing. They pretty much look after themselves. That's quite a strong endorsement, really. Next, there's some kind of unexpected evidence that they help to endow individuals with resistance to allergy, particularly if cats are around toddlers from birth, from their very earliest days. The way the process seems to work is that babies and toddlers begin to develop an immune system to protect themselves from cats, and in the process protect themselves from allergies of all sorts. So that's really a very strong endorsement. I was a little bit doubtful about this when I first heard about it, but apparently there's quite a bit of scientific evidence for it. Okay, next. Well, this is really, I suppose, more for men, but cats will help you attract women. Now, the logic here is that a woman will look at a man who seems to be very attached to his cat, who cuddles the cat, who has pictures of his cat, and the woman says, well, he can't be that awful if he's that nice to a cat. Now, this could be misleading, but nonetheless, I think it's quite a strong argument, particularly if as a man you're, as it were, on the hunt. Apparently it works. And finally, cats are reasonably long-lived. The average age for a cat when it packs it in is about 15 years. That's pretty good. That's quite a long period of time. So what that says is, compared to dogs, for instance, cats live a few years longer on average, so they don't need replacement that often. So that makes one's life a little bit simpler. So that's a bonus as well. Well, what about some of the no answers? Well, I think first of all, there may be people of a certain personality type who don't like to be challenged. They don't like to be defied. They don't like to be gazed upon with contempt, as cats will often do. I would guess that the current President of the United States probably wouldn't have a cat for that reason. Next, and perhaps much more seriously, they are bird killers. The RSPB and other bird fancier organizations will tell you that a great deal of bird mortality in Britain is caused by cats. And if you think that each cat maybe even kills one bird a year, well, dear me, that's 10 million birds a year being killed. So that's pretty awful. We noticed that when our cat died, the birds came back into our garden. They had been away for quite a while because they knew what the story was, and that if Basil were around, it would not be good news for them, and that they were well advised to stay away. Well, now they're back in fairly great numbers, so it's a pleasure to see them. But that's kind of an unpleasant for some, a supremely unpleasant aspect of feline behavior. Next, they shed. And I suppose the degree to which this is a problem varies a bit with the breed, but it really can be annoying. Whoever's in charge of keeping the house in shipshape has got to periodically be dealing with cat hair. And cat hair in itself, by the way, sometimes causes allergic reaction in some people. We've had friends and relatives who could not stay in our house because of our cat, because they immediately started sneezing and worse. So that's a bit of a problem as well. Another one, I suppose this applies to any pet, is veterinary bills and special food, because the little deer requires a certain kind of diet, which of course always costs several times as much as the garden variety stuff in a can. So that can be a bit disruptive if you don't have pet insurance. By the way, if you have pet insurance, then of course you have to pay the pet insurance premium. So that can be a financial burden, particularly if you're a little short on money. Next, they are untrainable. You would love for them to be able to be trained like a dog, but they are impervious to that. They will, if you make such an effort, probably look at you once again with a look which suggests, what is this fool trying to do to me? I'll just ignore it and walk away and maybe get some food next door at the neighbor's house. So that can be a bit annoying. The one thing they will learn to do, of course, is to exit the house in order to do their business. But then the problem arises that they will go to your neighbor's garden and pick a spot that the neighbor doesn't appreciate, and then you get into trouble with your neighbor, and you admit to them you don't know what to do about it, et cetera, et cetera. So of course you can suggest that the neighbor consult YouTube or the RSPB or whatever to figure out a way to fend off cats. But nonetheless, it's kind of an annoying problem. And finally, they claw and scratch. They scratch furniture. I've been through this one with the cat deciding that our fairly expensive sofa was just a great place to sharpen his claws. And it was repeatedly ruined. The advice that we received on that one was give up. The cat will do what it likes, and there's nothing you can do about it. They do market sprays to put on your furniture to disincentivize the cat from ruining it. In my experience, they don't work. So anyway, there's quite a few bad aspects of owning a cat, so one has to be kind of fully cognizant of these before making the big decision to get one. Okay, well, what's my take? I guess my take is this. I like cats. I find them very entertaining. And by the way, I would take exception to the notion that they are untrainable. I do believe that all you need is a water pistol. And in the event that the cat is repeatedly doing something of which you disapprove, a few squirts of the water pistol may result in a change of behavior. It's not guaranteed, but in my personal experience, it works. So that's my advice. Beyond that, I think they're great fun. You might want to get several. You might even have a clouder of cats, a group of cats, a new word for me. Okay, well, there it is. I am sure that with this video, some people will have been upset, feel that I've got it wrong, but nonetheless, I think my experience and research both have been thorough and relatively unassailable. So, thanks for watching. Give me a like if you liked it. Please subscribe, comment if you feel so inclined. Hit the notification bell, and thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.